because I had to be honest with myself, like, what's the real issue here? And it wasn't just, oh, this is the first person that I let, what if I let my guard down and he just walks away, blah, blah, blah. It was more so, but God, it's taken so long to get here. What if he's not the one? And it just takes even longer. And it feels like it was there. It was so close. It was just palpable. I could taste it and poof, it disappears. And so that's a distrust as well, because I'm like, oh God, I don't know if I trust you to do it again. I don't know if I trust you to bring somebody around again that I actually like, who likes me, I mean, this man be like, you're just so beautiful. I see this, I see that. I'm like, I ain't never had that before. Like, okay. Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel, All Things Jesus. I'm your girl, Adriana. If this is your first time tuning in, thank you for watching. And if you are a regular, welcome back. I'm chasing the sun, y'all, okay? I don't know if I'm gonna have this for long. I was like really struggling, okay? But hopefully it'll stay, or it might get a little darker, but I'm gonna do this video because I haven't been here in a while and I'm big and I want to talk to y'all. As you see the title of this video, I wanted to kind of merge both worlds. As most of you know, if you're not new to the channel, that I am a licensed professional counselor in my everyday work, and just a girl that loves Jesus and dating and singleness and abstinence and all those things. And so I'm kind of merging that together today, and talking about how the Lord has been getting your girl together, okay? Getting your good sis together in this whole dating thing, and like trying to date seriously while having an anxious attachment style. Now, I know it's all the rage. Everybody and your mama, have been talking about attachment styles lately. So this video is for more of my anxious attachers, or if maybe you are another attachment style and you're dating someone who has an anxious attachment style, you might want to stick around. You might want to hear what the Lord has been saying to me, and maybe I can implant some knowledge into you. So if that's of any interest to you, stick around. All right, y'all. So let's do a mini, and I do mean mini, overview of attachment styles. If any of you have, you're familiar with it, then this is just a recap for you anyway. But you have mainly two types of attachment styles, which would be insecure and secure. So secure is what it sounds like. That person is really comfortable in relationships. They seem to have had a, childhood that was healthy. The parent relationship or the caregiver relationship was healthy. They felt very secure. They can receive love and they can give love well. They can handle, arguments. They have great conflict resolution skills, and communication skills. They could be assertive in their communication style, receive constructive criticism. They are secure. These are the people that we love in the world, okay? And most of them are in committed long-term relationships because they are secure. And then you have the second category of attachment, which is insecure. And then you have three. So there is anxious, there is avoidant, and then there is a mixture of both, what some people call disorganized. I'm keeping the terms very short and clear, not the fearful this and that, just anxious, avoidant, and disorganized. Just the mixture of the two is what that means when I say disorganized. So very quickly, anxious, I'm looking at my notes so that I don't, go on a tangent. Y'all know how I do. Anxious is they want closeness from their partners, right? The need is often driven by a fear of abandonment, mistrust, and low self-esteem. So the attachment style develops in childhood where they feel like, this is inconsistent, the way my caregiver treats me. So I feel their love sometimes, but then I also feel like they, are inconsistent and they're not there for me like I need them to. So it can affect the intimate relationships as you get older, because then you're like always looking for reassurance, always wondering, is this person going to abandon me? Is this person going to, meet my needs? Because of what you felt when you were a child, that sometimes your caregiver would meet your needs and then sometimes they wouldn't. So it's inconsistent in the parenting pattern. What else do I have down here? I'm going to leave that for when I get to myself specifically, because I think it's going to be very eye-opening to share what the Lord has said to me. On to avoidance. So avoidant get a bad rap, right? This is none of this is judgmental. This is just a product of like how you were raised, personality style, environment, all of those different things. And so it's not negative, a negative connotation to be anxious or to be avoidant. This is just, a product of those things. And they also can be changed. Okay. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. If you're in therapy or if you're, working on yourself or if you have a secure partner, they can actually help you come to the side of being secure. Anyway, avoidant. So parents did not attend to this child's emotional needs. They felt abandoned. They learned how to fend for themselves. So this is the person that you see who is a lone wolf. They're very confident. They're super independent. They wear their self-sufficiency like a badge of honor. They just seem like they can do everything by themselves. um, and so what do I have down here? Oh, this was interesting. It says parents who are strict and emotionally distant and do not tolerate the expression of feelings and expect their child to be independent and tough is how it gets to the point of an avoidant attachment style. So I think I already said they fostered a very strong sense of independence. It's strong, y'all. So, but they also, check this out, they also fear being abandoned as well. But instead of like our avoidance, like our anxious, excuse me, will cling and try to get, the reassurance that they need and make sure their partner is not going to leave them or abandon them. The avoidant person is going to do the opposite. They're not going to cling and seek reassurance. They're going to tend to isolate. They're going to play like a cat and a mouse game because they have that high value on independence because nobody was there for me before. So how can I trust you to be there for me? So if I start to like you a lot, I'm probably going to back off. They don't like to be tied down. However, they can get into committed long-term relationships and it can be healed. Third, disorganized. Again, we're talking about the insecure type of attachment style. This is the person that a lot of people would say is complex. A lot of even, clinicians would say that this is one of the most difficult type of insecure attachment styles. And it's often seen in people who have been physically, verbally, or sexually abused in their childhood. So they have a very hard time at trusting people and they can be very inconsistent in relationships because they can be clingy one moment, which is more of the avoidant. Why do I keep saying avoidant? Which is more of the anxious nature, trying to, hold on to you, trying to get their reassurance, wondering where you are, what are you doing, wanting to be very lovey-dovey. And then the next minute, as their partner, you can experience them as cold, pulling away, wanting to do their own thing, being very independent. So hence the name disorganized, because it can feel like very disorganized, very chaotic, very all over the place. That's how it's, presented. Again, can be healed in the name of Jesus. So that's just a background for all of my people who you may not have ever heard about it. And if you haven't, I want you to check out John Bowlby. You can Google it. That's where, the origin of attachment styles comes from. Psychologist. And he did a whole, just experiment and all of those things and writings on early attachment style. Then, if you want to actually read a book that I like to recommend to a lot of my clients, and I read it myself, it's called Attach by Dr. Levine. I don't remember the doctor's first name. It might be written by two people actually, but just look up Attached. And I can put it actually below. Very good. It helps you to know how to navigate relationships with your different attachment style. All right, guys, where we at? 8 minutes. That wasn't that short, but it's going to help somebody out there who did not know. So you can think in your mind, if you are in a relationship or you were in the past, or if you're, dating, whatever, oh, this is why X, Y, and Z, in light of what you know now about attachment styles. All right, so moving on, y'all, moving on. I realized at my big age, at 34, that I have an anxious attachment style, which is, I would say, surprising, probably to people who know me well, because I don't present that way in friendships or with my family. I can actually be hyper independent. I can spend a lot of time by myself, can be a loner. I know my family loves me, and I love them, and I don't have to seek, that constant reassurance. However, I found that my attachment style comes out when in romantic relationships. Heavy. So I just want to dig into some of my notes, and I pray that this can be helpful for someone. I was praying like, Lord, you gotta help me. Like this constant, because the other term for anxious attachment style is preoccupied. I felt so, and sometimes still do feel very preoccupied in dating. So I don't want to share too much because I don't know what the Lord is doing, but I am, I guess, dating someone more seriously than I have before. And I realized that it was terrifying me. So anyway, I wrote down here, I realized I had an anxious attachment style because I was afraid that this person would one day like abandon me, or like things would just change on a dime, or whatever I was thinking in my head, right? But not because I thought that I wasn't good enough. So this is why I'm gonna go back to what I was saying I would save for later when I start talking about my actual attachment style. So a lot of people with the anxious attachment style will also say that they are insecure, like insecure in who they are and have low self-esteem. Now, did I struggle with that in my past? Greatly. I even have videos on my channel that talk about that, but I have been delivered in Jesus' name, and I can fully say and be confident in knowing what I bring to the table, and knowing who I am, and knowing my worth, and all those different things. And so with this particular, relationship now, dating relationship now, I don't feel like I'm less than, or like I'm not good enough for him, or blah blah blah, and that's the reason why I think he's going to leave. It's not like that at all. It's more so just a crippling fear of losing control. A crippling fear, I think, of me in the past never really having to tend to my own emotions, and now that big emotions are coming up, it's frightening, and it's like I'm seeking control of it, and I don't want to really experience it, which leads me to this point. It says that another factor that is linked to the development of an anxious attachment style in children is the so-called emotional hunger of the caregiver. And so by no means am I coming at my mother or my father. I love them to death. But this is just some things that I have come to reckon with, in a revelation that I believe the Lord has given to me. And, you know, parents do their best. They are human at the end of the day. I think what happened was that my mom would often seek emotional or physical closeness to me to satisfy her own need rather than like my need. And so a lot of times I would feel like I was attending more to her emotional needs rather than my own. And that's also a symptom of being like the firstborn, of being the daughter in the house, of being like, the mama and the sister to your siblings. And so you feel like almost, even if your parent does give you emotional space, because I'm not saying my mom never gave me emotional space, but innately inside, I would kind of feel like I don't want to put that stress on her, because I was kind of like her little helper and the person that was her confidant and her friend. And why would I want to then put stress with talking about how I feel? I'm not saying that that was right, but that's how my mind formulated it. And so going back to now in this relationship, struggling because I'm like, I got so many big emotions, but I don't want to say anything to him, because what if that will cause him to walk away, and da 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 da, and what if I'm crazy, and what if I'm just making up stuff? And sometimes you might just be tripping, right? But there should be a level of comfort with this person, or you should be able to ascertain if there isn't that level of comfort, then maybe this person is not for you, right? But I was struggling. I would tell him how I felt, and I would be nervous, but I would do it. But then I would just feel so much pressure on the inside, and I'm like, Lord, what is happening? So I felt like the Lord was saying to me that my fear was more linked to control, pride, and distrust of the Lord. I said, wait a minute, what, Lord? I trust you. um And the revelation was that this person, I'm just going to read what I wrote. This person could potentially decide to walk away after I've let my guard down. Listen, sis ain't out here just dating anybody, okay? I'm not just dating anybody. I'm praying about everybody as soon as I meet you. Most of the time, you ain't gonna make it past a certain mark because I done prayed, and the Lord answers that prayer, as TikTok likes to say, 24 to 48 hours, and the person they gone. They start showing their true colors, or they just they route themselves, and that's happened to me plenty of times. And so the fact that he made it this far, I think that sense of control is like, he could walk away now that I like him. I don't usually be liking men like that. I mean, he cool, he all right. I mean, he cute, blah blah blah. But now I'm like, oh, my emotions are involved. I feel invested. And so that was terrifying to me. And so I was seeking control. I wanted to do this. I wanted to make sure, well, how does he feel about me? And and it's like, girl, relax, break it down. And so I realized that was what was happening in my brain, and I was preoccupied with it because there was nothing I could do about it, which brought me back to the distrust of the Lord. Because if I stand firm in knowing, if this man is for me, nothing, and I mean nothing, will keep him away from me. If he is God's best for me, if he chooses me, right? In all of my good, my bad, my ugly, whatever, and if I choose him, because it's not just his choice either, but I have to believe that the Lord's will prevail, and that his best, that's what I want, no matter what, and I think I said to myself, I'd rather be the first to walk away. And that's where that anxious stuff comes in. I don't want to be abandoned. So now I'm about to put up protest behaviors. I'm about to do whatever I can to try to get you closer. Or if I can't get you closer, boom, bye. Another one bites the dust. and I'm like, no, that you've come too far. You cannot do that. And that's where that pride was coming from. So I was struggling, like I said, because it's someone who had actually been worth my time and my effort and my investment. And this is where the distrust comes even deeper, y'all, because I had to be honest with myself, like, what's the real issue here? And it wasn't just, oh, this is the first person that I let, what if I let my guard down and he just walks away, blah, blah, blah. It was more so, but God, it's taken so long to get here. What if he's not the one? And it just takes even longer. And it feels like it was there. It was so close. It was just palpable. I could taste it, and poof, it disappears. And so that's a distrust as well, because I'm like, oh God, I don't know if I trust you to do it again. I don't know if I trust you to bring somebody around again that I actually like, who likes me, I mean, this man be like, you're just so beautiful. I see this, I see that. I'm like, I ain't never had that before. Like, okay. But I have to know that if he ain't it, all right, bye. You John the Baptist, you preparing the way for whoever is for me, you know? But that was what I really have to reckon with. And you might have to reckon with, if you have an anxious attachment style and you are a believer, is okay. The wrestle is not in the person or with the anxiety itself, but what am I really saying about my belief in my God? I just want you to listen to that one more time. The wrestle is not in the person, their attachment style, or how they act towards me, or what they do, blah, 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 or the anxiety itself, the thoughts, the feelings, all the things. But what am I really saying in my actions, my behaviors, my thoughts? What am I saying about my belief in my God and what he can do for me? So that's pretty much it, y'all. That's the revelation. That's what I came here to do. Is to share that with y'all and just be honest about where I am. Like, you don't reach some like new pinnacle if you actually start today and this person is an actual contender. That's where all the work you've been doing, all the prayers you've been praying, all of the healing, all of the therapy, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where you're gonna get triggered, and you have to then do what I've been doing, like really allow the Lord to open up your heart, to excavate some things, to tell you like, no, this ain't how you seeing this person. Why is everything always so negative? Why can't you ever like really think highly of him and give him the benefit of the doubt, or her if you're a man watching this? Why is it always the worst case scenario? So yeah, I hope that's helpful for y'all. I'm at 20 minutes and I need to go. I don't know if the sun is gonna, cut out on your girl, but pray for me as I pray for you. And list down below, what's your attachment style? Did you know about attachment styles before, watching this video? Did you learn something from it? I think there is so much to be said about psychology, which is why I'm in this field, right? And it bridging that gap to faith and Christianity as well. And I think that the Lord, he is the antidote to all of this. Whatever your attachment style is, in him you can find security. And so I'm not gonna go too far. Just know if you have any questions, or like, okay, well, where do I go from here? I can do another video. I can help to bridge that gap, and can bring more of my clinical side to this channel. So anyway, I love y'all. And as always, until next time, whatever you do it all for the glory of God. Bye, y'all. Oh, y'all, I'm back. If you don't know your attachment style and you want to know it, I also am linking below the attachment style quiz from the Attachment Project. So this will help you to get a little bit of information and insight if you don't know what your type is and you want to know. Not saying it's foolproof. You can also probably gather from what I also share in the video, but that's just another alternative if you want to see some things. They give you a little chart, and they also have some great information about each type. So wanted to leave that. All right. Bye, y'all.